Every Halloween, parents warn their children, check your candy before you eat it. But here's the creepy part. Sometimes the candy really was deadly. From cyanide-laced Pixy Stix to arsenic-filled peppermints. These are 5 times sweet treats turned lethal. Stick around because the truth behind these candy killings is far stranger than their urban legends. October 31st, 1974, Pasadena, Texas. Halloween night. Kids flood the streets in their costumes, parents trailing behind with flashlights. Everything seems normal. But one dad, Ronald Clark O'Brien, is especially generous this year. He hands out jumbo Pixy Stix, those giant paper straws filled with sugary powder. 5 kids take them, including his own 8-year-old son, Timothy. That night, Timothy complains the candy tastes bitter. He eats it anyway. Within minutes, he's vomiting, and then convulsing. By midnight, Timothy is dead. The autopsy reveals enough cyanide in that Pixy Stix to kill 2 adults. Police immediately suspect a Halloween psychotic, a stranger slipping poison into trick-or-treat bags. But as they investigate, the evidence points somewhere else. It's Ronald O'Brien, the dad. As it turns out, O'Brien was drowning in debt. He'd taken out massive life insurance policies on both his kids just weeks before Halloween, $20,000 each. He'd bought the cyanide himself, loaded it into the Pixy Stix, and then, on Halloween night, he gave them to his own son and 4 other kids to cover his tracks. O'Brien was arrested, convicted, and executed by lethal injection in 1984. Sweet candy indeed. This killer wasn't a stranger putting razor blades in candy. It was dear old Dad all along. The media dubbed him the Candy Man, and his crime became the nightmare that every Halloween warning is based on. But that wasn't the first time candy killed. In fact, more than a century earlier, it wiped out an entire town. 1858, Bradford, England. The Industrial Revolution is booming, but so is poverty. Sugar is expensive, and candy makers are looking for ways to cut costs. William Hardacre, a local candy maker, needs to stretch his supply of peppermint lozenges. So he sends his worker to the pharmacy for Daft, a cheap adulterant made of plaster and limestone. But the pharmacist's apprentice makes a mistake, a deadly one. Instead of Daft, he grabs 12 pounds of arsenic trioxide, a rat poison. Nobody notices. The arsenic looks just like the Daft. It gets mixed into the candy. The lozenges go on sale at the market. They're cheap, popular, and perfect for kids. Within hours, people start getting sick. Violent vomiting, burning pain, convulsions. By the end of the week, over 200 people are poisoned. At least 20 are dead, including children as young as 3. Investigators trace it back to Hardacre's shop. The candy is tested. It's 50% arsenic. The pharmacist and the candy maker both face trial, but here's the twist. Neither is fully convicted. Why? Because food adulteration was so common, there were barely any laws against it. The Bradford poisoning was so horrific, it forced Britain to pass the Pharmacy Act of 1868, the first real regulation of dangerous substances in food and medicine. If candy could kill by accident, you better believe some people started using it on purpose. And nowhere was that more true than post-war Germany. 1920s. Germany. The Great War is over, but the country is in chaos. Hyperinflation, political violence, assassinations, left-wing radicals, right-wing paramilitaries. Everyone's got a target on their back. And some killers get creative. Why use a gun when you can send a box of chocolates? Poisoned chocolates become the weapon of choice for political assassins. Elegant, deadly, hard to trace. One prominent case: a German official receives a beautiful box of imported chocolates. He shares them with his family after dinner. It's cyanide. The entire family is hospitalized. 2 don't survive. Investigators find the chocolates had been injected with cyanide using syringes, carefully resealed so no one could tell. This wasn't isolated. Throughout the 1920s and 30s, poison candy became a tool of terror, not just in Germany, but across Europe. Forget flowers or a love note. This box of chocolates came with poison. Trust no one, not even dessert. But while assassins were weaponizing sweets, parents in America were panicking over something even scarier, and it was mostly in their heads. 1970s, America. The nightly news has a new favorite horror story. Razor blades in apples, needles in chocolate bars, poisoned candy from strangers. Local news stations run breathless reports every October, warning parents that Halloween is a minefield of danger. Parents start inspecting every piece of candy. Hospitals offer free X-rays. Some towns cancel trick-or-treating altogether. But here's the thing: the panic was entirely fake. Researchers at the University of Delaware studied decades of Halloween candy reports. Out of hundreds of claims, almost 0 were real. Most tampered candy cases were either hoaxes by attention-seeking kids, misunderstandings, or parents finding normal imperfections and assuming the worst. A kid finds a pin in a Snickers bar. Turns out it came from the factory. Another claims they were poisoned. Toxicology shows nothing. Again and again, the stories collapse under investigation. The only confirmed cases of intentional candy poisoning: family members, like the Candy Man. The call was coming from inside the house. So why did everyone believe it? Because the media loved the story. It was perfect for ratings, scary, relatable, and just plausible enough. The real monster wasn't in the candy. It was in the headlines. And if that wasn't wild enough, the panic only deepened when gummy bears got dragged into the satanic panic. The 1980s. America is in the grip of the satanic panic. Parents are convinced that devil worshippers are everywhere, hiding messages in rock music, recruiting kids through role-playing games, and yes, handing out drug-laced candy. Enter the gummy bear. The urban legends exploded. Strangers are handing out gummy bears soaked in LSD. One bite and your kid is tripping for hours. Some versions claim they're laced with PCP or even strychnine. Police departments issue warnings. Schools send home flyers. The local news runs segments with titles like "The Hidden Danger in Your Child's Candy." The evidence? 0. Not a single confirmed case. Ever. Drug enforcement agencies investigated. Hospitals tested suspected candy. Nothing. Nowhere. Not even once. Let's think about it. Why would a drug dealer waste expensive LSD on gummy bears to give away to random kids? It makes 0 sense. But the legend persisted because it hit every parent's fear button. Drugs, strangers, and the idea that danger could look innocent and sweet. It was the same pattern as the razor blade panic. No evidence, maximum fear, endless media coverage. Turns out the scariest thing about gummy bears? Your poor mother's imagination. So why do these candy legends stick with us? From arsenic peppermints in Victorian England to cyanide Pixy Stix in Texas, candy really has been used to kill. But here's the truth. The real cases are shockingly rare. The legends, they've poisoned Halloween far more than any actual candy ever did. Most Halloween treats are perfectly safe, but the legends remind us that sometimes the scariest stories start with something small, colorful, and sweet, and that the real danger isn't always the stranger at the door. It's the people we trust. If you like this creepy candy history, subscribe to Dine and Conquer. We've got more deadly food stories coming soon.